Hey, what's up everybody? Drew here over at RevHiker Outdoors, and I've got a video for you today that I've been wanting to put out for a long time, and due to circumstances I haven't, but here we go today. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I am gearing up for my winter hiking season. I love hiking in winter. I enjoy it just as much or more as I do warm weather hiking. There's a lot less people out, which is always a good thing, and I just absolutely love how the snow looks on top of the mountains and when the trees are all matted down, and I just love it. Normally you don't have to deal with rain, so that's a good thing. But I love winter hiking, and so this is my gear list. I'm going to jump into it, and I don't want to make this video too long. I'm not going to go through things that I wear as far as what I will literally be wearing as I'm hiking. I'll go through the extra clothes that I bring for sleeping and contingency clothes in case it gets really cold. But I will not cover or include in my weight what I'm wearing or the things, well, some of the things that are in my pack I would actually carry on my person, and so you can't really include those in the pack weight, but you sort of can, if you know what I mean. I'll get to those when I get to them. So anyway, let's start with the most obvious thing, which is the pack. I use a 45 liter, this is a High Sierra, so it's a cheaper brand. I think I picked this up for like 45 bucks, 50 bucks on sale somewhere. They're usually, 75, 80, 90, right, in that range. I've seen now some of them are getting a little more pricey, but I've had this for a few years. I've done some modifications of this. I took out the internal frames because I have no need for the frame, and that lightened it up. I cut some extraneous straps and things off the outside, which I knew I was never going to use, and so I've just done a few things like that to lighten it. And sometimes I can do without this top piece in the winter, and if I can, I will. It depends on the length of the trip and how much food I'm going to bring, but taking this top piece off can significantly lower your weight. But as it sits now, I wanted to do like my heaviest version. So that's my pack. I'll start by going through the top compartment and showing you guys what I've got in there. So let's see. First thing, I'm not going to go through all this, but this is like my toiletries and first aid kit. For toilet paper, I will be doing a review, but I don't use like regular TP anymore. I use those, they're like tiny little towels and they look like big pills, and you just put a little water on them, and they're actually made of rayon, which is from plant fiber, so they're biodegradable, and they're a lot tougher than TP, and trust me, they just work better. I'll do a review on them shortly, but I carry several of those in here. So first aid kit, toiletries, things of that nature. Next, in my top, and this is usually on me just because I like having my light on me, but this year I've changed to the this is the Foxelli headlamp, and I've got a review on that. I'll put a link to it. I'm not going to go through it, but really love this light, and I think for the next few trips this is going to bump my Princeton Tech out of the way so I can really see how this does on like a 3 to 4 day hike, and in the winter, because winter really tests the light. The cold can really drain your battery quickly, so I'm going to be giving this a really good field test here coming soon, but that's going to be my light from now on, unless something catastrophic happens, and then I will report on that. I bring a few gear ties in the top, and these are the long ones, like I think these are the 2-footers. I bring usually 3 or 4 of those, and the reason I do that is for 2 main reasons. My version of winter camping is not like a lot of people's. I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of kits that are basically like my summer kits, because in the Adirondacks in the summer even, it can get down to near freezing at night. And some places down south in different areas, those are their winter temps. So this is a winter snow, like sub-zero type packing list. So in my area, snowshoes are a requirement. When the trail is super icy or near the summit, I like to switch to Crampons, and so the snowshoes get lashed to the outside of whatever pack I'm having. So whether that be a day pack if I'm base camping, or whether it's my normal pack. So These work awesome, awesome, awesome. You can manipulate them with gloves, no problem. So these are great for lashing that stuff to the outside. Those aside, I do carry for my water filter my squeeze, and I still use a water filter in the winter. The water filter itself and all the components that could freeze stay in my pockets close to my body so they don't freeze. But you know, the squeeze bottle I'll just leave in the top. But I don't boil my water in the winter. I just melt it, because you have to carry a lot more fuel if you're going to try to boil all this water. So while that's the nicest, I usually filter it, if I filter it at all. There's a lot of times where I just scoop up some clean snow and I drink it. Yes, it's a chance I take. No, I don't want to hear in the comments about how I should filter everything. For the most part I do, but sometimes I don't. Sawyer Mini, and I do bring this because, actually no, not bringing this. This is just in there incidentally. I don't bring that because my water bottles have the little nozzle on them, so I can back flush without that. So correction, that just made it in there somehow. So there's my water filtration stuff in the top. Let's see what else I carry. I generally carry my Spork up there. I've always carried my Spork in the top pocket for whatever reason. It's where it is. So there's that, and that's the Light My Fire Spork, by the way, if anyone was curious. Let's move into the pack. Lots of extra room here. Okay, now included in the weight, which I forgot to mention, the total weight of this is 12 and a half pounds. So, and like I said, it could be lighter, but I brought my full weight. This is my Marmot compressor. I bring this if I know I'm going to be base camping out of a place. If I'm not, if I'm just doing like a huge loop or something, this doesn't come with me, it's not needed, but I included it in the weight just in case. Okay, so like I said, this is full out. Next thing I've got, and some people are going to get weird about it because they say you could use something lighter for this. It's okay. This is an Ascend dry bag, and there's a couple, and I carry all my extra clothes in here. So I've got like my down jacket, my fleece pants for sleeping, a polypropylene top, a base layer for my bottoms, and extra hats and gloves. And that is included in the weight. I have like a windproof balaclava in here if the weather's really bad and you need to, because sometimes in the Adirondacks you do need to cover all skin or it will freeze with the way the wind gets ripping. This is a waterproof and like airtight bag, so this helps compress stuff. You can see it's kind of like vacuum sealed. I just ram on top of this and then squeeze it down. Of course there's always a little air left in there, but it helps compress it, and it's going to keep my stuff dry no matter what. And I like this one because it's got a clear front, and I can just see where stuff is, see that I make sure I've got everything in there. But a lot of this is used for sleeping only, because when I hike very hot. So this will be for downtime or for sleeping mostly. So this is part of my sleep gear, but it's just extra clothes. And let's see, next, cook kit. My cook kit is interchangeable. If it's going to be 20 degrees or above, I will bring my MSR pocket rocket with, it's just a canister type stove, and that will increase the weight a little bit. For this purposes, I know it's going to be colder than that. It almost always is. And so what I bring is my alcohol stove. Now this year I've got a different alcohol stove courtesy of a friend of mine, John, over at Intense Angler. He's a great channel. I'll link him, and he sent me a few stoves. I'm going to be giving away a couple of his stoves here pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, so this is my GSI kettle. I really like this. I bring this because this is way better to melt snow in, and in the winter I tend to bring Mountain House, where in the summer I don't, and they require more water, so this works better. It's got a lid. It's more versatility. Yes, it's heavier, but I don't care. In the winter, I'm eating hot meals a lot because it's cold. So inside of here, I'm not going to go through this crazy, but this is one of their, the bowls that comes with the Catalyst kit. It's a rolled aluminum can stove. More on that. And then I got my snuffer and a little mini Bic, and just matches as a backup. And then my windscreen is tucked down in here. Like I said, I'm not going to go crazy into this, but this is like my winter cook kit. And then obviously I have fuel as well. And I bring a small canister and a 5-hour energy bottle, and I keep that in my pocket so the fuel is warm. And then the rest of the fuel goes in the pack, and I usually leave it in the original heat container. And the only reason I do that is because you know, some people use clear plastic water bottles. They have the cheapo ones have a tendency to get brittle in the extreme cold, and I'm talking like below 0 temperatures. And I don't want that cracking and having my alcohol all up in my pack. So I just use the original heat bottle. Heavier, but much safer. Next, let's see what we got here. Okay, sleep system. My Eno Sub 7 hammock. Contained inside of this is suspension, ridgeline, all that mess. You guys have seen that before if you're a fan of the channel. Next is my tarp, and I just keep this in a little stuff sack. It's like a super lightweight one. And this is a Lewis & Clark 8x10, and I pitch it in a diamond, you know, like diagonally over, and it comes down really nice and far to block off the wind. And I really like it. Super cheap. I think I paid like 35 bucks for it for a nylon tarp. It's waterproof. I love it. It's great. Is it the absolute lightest and best? No. It's somewhat weighty, but it works. And in the winter, I want something that's going to withstand a little bit of snow on it. Next, I have my To-Go Systems trifecta that I use as my main sleeping bag. That's no stranger. But what I also have is a second To-Go Systems trifecta sleeping bag, bivy, blanket, canopy, whatever you want to call it. Now this, I will try to make a video on how I pitch this, but I have my hammock, and then inside my hammock I have my 2 pads, and I have my sleeping bag, the trifecta over me, you know, like a normal sleeping bag, and then this I unzip all the way and I make it like a cocoon around the entire setup because it is big enough to do that. And I have these tiny little S-beaners from Night Eyes, and I just clip those on the eyelets, and it just makes a big cocoon, and it makes like a little microclimate inside of there. So this rests on the edges of the where am I going here, guys? Oh, rests on the edges of the hammock, and it creates a gap like this between you and the bag, and so it kind of creates like a warm air pocket, and then it blocks all the wind and reflects your heat on the bottom as well. So really good for that. I have been doing some testing with it, and it's performed really well. There were a couple cold nights that I was able to check that out in, but I haven't done anything like Sub-Zero with it. So this trip will be the true test of that. This trip I have coming up in January, and so you know, if I freeze and die, you guys will know this doesn't work. But that's going to be my plan. That's what I'm going out in the field with. Last thing in my pack is this is my Thermarest. This is the Scout, so it's the shorter one, and this is just to keep my core on. And what I'll do is I'll take my other sleeping pad for the winter, which is my normal one that I use in the summer. This is my Car Shade Reflectix one. That goes down. This goes over top of it. And this keeps my core, that wraps around and all that stuff. Now, with the Reflectix ones, you are going to get some condensation. No matter what you do in the winter, you're going to get condensation, okay? And that's part of the reason that I carry that dry bag. I don't want all my clothes and everything wet. So, you know, I'm trying to mitigate that as much as possible. And you're going to get some, but that's really super light. And for its weight, it's crazy warm. So I make the trade-off. I know it's going to produce some condensation, but it's an acceptable amount. Like I said, no matter what you do in the winter, you're going to get it. So let's see. Okay, I've got, in the winter I carry a little more water than I do in the summer because melting snow is a pain in the beans. So I want to do that less often. So I have 2 of these, and these are like imitation smart water bottles, but they function exactly the same. These are like Rite Aid brand. So these are 710 milliliters or 24 ounces. I carry 2 of them and then a single Smart Water, which is, I think this is like 20 ounces. So I'm carrying, I don't know, like 70 or so ounces on me at a time. And that's because I get thirsty in the winter, and in the winter it's a lot easier to get dehydrated because you don't feel as hot, so you don't drink as much. But it's really important to keep your liquids. A couple other things that I do use, obviously my snowshoes, and like I said, I got a new pair of tubs this year for a Christmas/birthday present, so I didn't have to pay a dime for those. Remember, that's one of my tips on how to get good gear, cheap or free. Ask for presents. Another thing, I bring trekking poles for sure in the winter time, and these I got for free. There's some leckies, I don't care how you pronounce it, I say leakies. I got these are the ones with the shocks in them, super fancy. Got those for free. Went into a trailhead and saw them sitting up against a rock, and I said, man, that stinks, somebody forgot those. And when I came out, like I think it was 3 or 4 days later, they were still sitting there. So I waited and waited, and you know, I ended up getting them for free. So that's how you go. Got those. Also in the winter, I use Gaiters. Now these are camouflage, so you can't see the bottoms of my legs, but that's okay. Again, I use some stuff multi-purpose for hunting and hiking, so these are one of those items. Don't use Gaiters in the summer ever, but in the winter, my Crampons, I have put cuts in my pants before, so these protect my pants. And that brings me to my Crampons, which I will show you. I don't use autos because I wear a very lightweight boot, but I use the strap-on types. And these are made by Camp, and the only reason I'm showing you these is because I think Camp does a really, really good job, and they make a great crampon. I mean, these have worked flawlessly for me on some really bad conditions, and nice and aggressive. You can't quite climb with them, but you know, they do have some good aggressive spikes coming out the front. But anyway, I didn't pay much for these. I think I paid like 55 bucks, and I mean, again, this is going back some years now, probably 8 or so years, but these are great. These are the Camp Stalkers, is the model on them. They've got Vibram bottoms, you know, to keep the snow from packing. They work really well. They came with the bag. I always keep them in the bag, and generally these are lashed to the outside of my pack for quick access. That about does it, guys. I'm pretty sure I didn't forget anything. Like I said, I'm not covering the stuff that I'm wearing or my base layers or anything, but that about covers the equipment. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this gave you some ideas. Maybe you can lighten up your winter load. And God bless you guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope this helped. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. I will catch you guys later.